Hello traders, welcome to the SimpliTrade YouTube channel. So we're going to be looking at the weekly market forecast for the coming week, and we are starting off from dollar index. Next week we're heading into a new month, which is going to be the month of February. So we're going to start from the monthly time frame, and this is the dollar index. What we can see here in the dollar index, if you guys have been following us in our first YouTube channel that got hacked, though we're still waiting for YouTube to rectify that. What we can see is that price traded bullish here. We predicted this bullish movement to see price seek this buy side, and then we could look forward to bearish possibility to the downside if price doesn't continue further bullish into this bearish fair value gap here in the monthly time frame. So what we can see is that price seek this buy side and then bearish fall to the downside. So we had a bullish fair value gap in which the month of December traded through. So we anticipated to see that this could act as an inversion in the month of January. So what we can see is that price traded back to it as an inversion. You can see how volume respected that and volume closed below that, and we can see volume close also below this buy candle before the sell movements. So price is reacting from a monthly block, so we could see price gives us a bullish push to the upside. So we may see price comes into this level. So we have to wait to see what happens here in lower time frame, because from this level we could just continue bearish to the downside in the dollar index. So this is just the narrative we can see here from the monthly time frame. Now let's go to the weekly time frame to look at the perspective we're going to start building for the coming week here in dollar index. So what we can see here in the weekly time frame is this. What I've been pointing out to us in the former YouTube channel is this. We want to see price comes into this rejection. Right from last year, we'll be looking forward to that. From the month of November, I wanted to see how price was going to trade into this weekly rejection block. And from there, we have the bearish possibility to the downside. But anyway, price took out the buy side and started a bearish movement to the downside. Price did not get into this weekly rejection block. So we can see the bearish movement. We identify the monthly block in which price gave this rejection to the upside. So what you can see in the weekly time frame is this. When we have the sweep of this buy side, price traded bearish to the downside here in the weekly time frame and created this bearish order block. Price return now mitigated that and gave this bearish displacement to the downside. Volume even closing below this low point here. So what we can see is this. Price is reacting from a monthly level. Sell side liquidity taken. So we could see push of price to the upside. So for the coming week, we'll be looking forward to see how price will trade higher into this level. So this should be your first targets, because from here, price may give us the possibility of creating a sell model to want to go further bearish to the downside. So this is what we can see also from the weekly time frame. This is where we have the buy movement before the sell movement to the downside. So price could further dip higher into this level here, because what we can see here is price gave us here a bullish block, because this is the sell movement before the buy movement. Price return mitigated that when bullish, but then price broke through it. So this could attract price. This could serve as a QML level where price could also further trade into. So we are bullish first to this institutional order flow level first. Then we can see what happens if we're going to have further push to the upside in the dollar index before the possibility of a bearish model in the lower time frames. So looking at the daily time frame here, we can see that price are giving us this bullish narrative in which I leverage that information to trade the USDJPY bullish movements. We're also going to look at the USDJPY pair. So, this is our monthly level. What can we see here in the daily? That's far away. So what we can see here in the daily is this. We have this sell movement before the push to the upside that broke this high points. So price has traded into that monthly block and gave us the bullish reaction to the upside. So I'll be looking forward to see further push of price to the upside. So what you can see is here in the daily time frame, this is where we have the bearish order block, the buy candle before the sell movement that broke this low points. So we can look to the possibility that price may dip further higher, not just to this weekly level, where we have that is the weekly institutional order flow. Within the weekly institutional order flow is where we have this daily bearish order block. So price could trade into this, and it's a confluence with the QML level we marked from the weekly time frame. So we have bullish possibility to the upside before we start looking at the bearish movement. And you can see here we have this liquidity void here. We have this gap in the market that price may seek to fill up and then furthermore trade higher into this bearish fair value gap. And we have the bearish block here. So first target will be see how price comes into the weekly institutional order flow. And then furthermore, if price decides to keep pushing, then you know we have the daily bearish block here. So I'll be looking forward to bullish side of things, even though we know that the momentum to the downside is that we are seeing bearishness. So we are seeing momentum to the downside. So I'm still looking to bullish possibility in the dollar index. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame. So in the 4-hour time frame, what we can see is price mitigated the monthly, a push into the fair value gap, return, push again back into the fair value gap, return, but failed to continue bearish. Price just went bullish to the upside. So you can see here in the 4-hour, we have an inversion fair value gap here because this fair value gap was mitigated multiple times and now price has broken through it. So we have a bullish fair value gap here. So it means that we could see the possibility that price may mitigate this to continue bullish to the upside. If price dips anyway lower than this 4-hour bullish fair value gap, then you know we may see price dip into this sell movement before the buy push to the upside. And then we'll be looking forward to trade into this weekly level first before we start aiming forward to see how price would come into the daily bearish block, because we have liquidity resting here. So price may trade higher to seek this liquidity. First, we have our drawn liquidities here. Next, we have this. So this is what I can point out towards here in the dollar index. So we could see price respect the bullish fair value gap and push to the upside. That is if the bullish momentum is quite very strong. But if not, price may dip a little bit lower to mitigate the sell movement before the buy movement, before we have the push to the upside. Let's look at the 1-hour time frame here in the dollar index. So here in 1-hour time frame, what we can see is price traded bearish, reacted from the bullish fair value gap, went bullish to the upside, took out sell side liquidity, pushed to the upside. So you can see where we have our 4-hour bullish fair value gap. Here we have the sell movement before the buy movement. So look forward to see what happens here. It is either price gives you the buy model to continue bullish here, or we may see price then deep into this level here. And then we can look forward to see how price is going to create the buy model for bullish continuation to the upside. So whatsoever would make this zone not to hold, it means we may see the bearish continuation to the downside. But this is what I'll be looking forward to see in the dollar index. So we have this liquidity gap here, volume void here, and you know, first target will be this before we start looking to the possibility that it might trade into this. So this is what I have to show us guys in the dollar index. Now let's look into the following pairs we have for the coming week. This is EURUSD and this is a monthly time frame. What we can see is price gave us the bullish movement of price to the upside into this monthly bearish block. So what I pointed out to us for the subscribers that have been following us in the other YouTube channel that got hacked, you know, I said we wanted to see how price will sell to the downside and come into this open close price, or price dips into this rejection level before we have bullish possibility to the upside. So what we can see is that price traded into the open close price level. This candle swept sell side liquidity, gave bullish movement. So price came into the open close price, respected that, and traded bullish to the upside. So what we can now see is price reacted at this monthly bearish block, volume closed below after taking the buy side liquidity. So here we have the sell candle before the push to the upside. Within this sell movement is this other sell movement. So that's why you can see I marked this bearish colored candle, which is a bullish block, and also this bearish colored candle, a bullish block. So it means that we could see that possibility that price may not just mitigate this level. It might decide to dip way much lower before we have the possibility of a bullish movement of price to the upside. So we're going to look at the lower time frame, the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, and possibly the 1-hour time frame. So this is what I'll be looking forward to see in EURUSD. The possibility of price going bearish before we have the bullish continuation to the upside, since we have seen the narrative in the dollar index. So let's look at the weekly time frame here in EURUSD. So what we can see here from the weekly time frame is this, the monthly block we marked here. You can see we have a bearish fair value gap, We have a sell movement before the buy movement, took out buy side liquidity, meaning a breaker, confluence of what? A fair value gap. Nice confluence there. And also a buy movement before sell movement, IOF. So price mitigated that. You can see the bearish rejection to the downside. So, last week I posted the setup I was expecting in EURUSD in the Telegram community. I wanted to see before the weekly delivery. I was hoping price could maybe possibly wants to dip before pushing higher. But unfortunately or fortunately, price just continued bullish. In the lower time frame was where I leveraged the information to trade bullish from Tuesday after waiting for Monday to give its delivery. So what we can see is prices traded bullish to our zone and now bearish rejection. So the monthly first level has been refined into the weekly here. Here we have a rejection block because price came into the rejection level, fell to the downside, returned back again, still respecting it, the volume of it, fell again, came back, still respected it, fell. Finally, price broke through it. So what we can now see is the bearish rejection to the downside. So it means that we could see a possibility of price pushing lower. The drawn liquidity is this bullish fair value gap we're seeing here in the weekly time frame. So we have those levels within the bullish fair value gap. So I'm looking to bearish possibility to the downside, and that is when we could look forward in lower time frame to see if price will give us bullish possibility to want to continue bullish. We should pay attention to the possible bearish continuation to the downside. Into first, you can target this level. If price continues giving us bearish narrative, we target the next level, and then we can wait to see what happens if the bullish model will be created for the bullish side of things. So let's look at the daily time frame here in EURUSD. What we can see in the daily time frame, I think the sell movement began from Wednesday. Yeah, that should be Wednesday. This is Wednesday candle. Yeah, so we can see price traded bearish. Thursday just gave this movements, trade bearish, went bullish, finally closed bullish, and Friday just gave the dip to the downside. So what we can see is we have this levels marked from the weekly, monthly. Now in the daily, you can see here we have a bullish order block. This is where we have the sell movement that sponsored the buy push that broke this, in extension broke this. So we could see price dip into that. So it means this second level is kind of valid to anticipate the possibility that price would dip lower into it. So what we can see here is that volume has traded below this. So this is where we have the buy movement before the sell movement. Even though we have this buy candle here, let's mark that. You possibly want to consider this as a bearish block, but then it is within this buy candle. So price could just possibly come mitigate this and then continue bearish to the downside without necessarily having to possibly push to the upside into this before the bearish fall to the downside. So we're going to look at the 4-hour time frame to see what we could possibly anticipate in EURUSD. But then we can look forward to this level because this could be where price may just push to and then fall to the downside. But then you have to identify a confluence of a lower time frame bearish block that may help you to build the framework or the model in a far more lower time frame. So maybe an hourly bearish block refined and established for confirmation in maybe a 15-minute time frame or 5-minute time frame for the possibility that you could get a sell model from here to want to continue bearish to the downside. So this either price drag from this or then price push. But I'm not really expecting to see the possibility that price may push here. But volume would matters. If possibly a strong volatility just occurs for price to just mitigate this and continue bearish to the downside. So let's look at the 4-hour time frame. So what we can see in the 4-hour time frame is this. So this is the level we marked from the daily. Now you can see the other level from the daily here. Price here came, mitigated this, fell to the downside. So above the one we marked from the daily, we have this 4-hour level. So you can see that we have this 4-hour level. So let's just look into that. So what you can see is this movement, displacements on Thursday. Yeah, we anticipated this pullback. Price came into this fair value gap also. So you can see how volume respected the consequent encroachment when bearish. So we have this movement that took out buy side liquidity. Let's deal with this so we don't have so many lines here on the chart. So if the market decides to want to give a bullish push of price to the upside, then we might look forward to this buy movement before the sell movement to see if price is going to give us a possibility to go bearish to the downside. So this is what I'll be looking forward to see here in Euro USD, except possibly this rejection block level that was broken, which aligns to that daily bullish block. There we could see the possibility that price may just react from this. So here, and then price trade lower. So if it dips, then we have this. So this is what I'll be looking at, or this, rather than this for now. So this is what I'll be looking forward to see in Euro USD. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame here in Euro USD. So in Euro USD, you can see where we have the 4 hour level. Here you can see the buy movement before the sell movement. The other level we marked, you can see here in the 1 hour, we have this bullish candle before the sell candle. So clearly now, we can look forward to see this. Just observe what happens here. If price give the sell model, we just sell from here. But then if price decide to violate this and push more higher, then we can look to sell from here. So this is what I have to show us here in Euro USD, guys, except the market decide to prove otherwise and begins a bullish movement. So let's move on to the next pair, guys. Here in GBPUSD, what we can see from the monthly time frame, we have this monthly bullish fair value gap where price mitigated, respecting the consequent encroachment, the bullish movement back into this bearish block. Price mitigated is the second time because we can see when price traded bearish here, it came back, mitigated it, and then fell. So price have returned into it, mitigating it again. After the mitigation, price took out buy side, volume closed below. So what you can see, this is where we have the sell movement that took our sell side liquidity here before going bullish. So we could see price deep to the downside, and then we have the possibility of a bullish continuation to the upside in GBPUSD. So this is what I'll be looking forward to see. This is the monthly time frame. So let's look at the weekly time frame here in GBPUSD. So our monthly level, our monthly block where price mitigated and then price went bearish to the downside, seeking buy side, volume closed below. So what we can see here in the weekly time frame is this weekly level, which is a rejection level. Price mitigated that, fell to the downside, but then bullishness to the upside. So this is the first level I'll be looking forward to, the bearish movement to the downside. And we also have here a weekly bullish fair value gap. So we could see price dip lower. So I said this is going to be a first sell target. In extension, price could dip into the second target, where we can also see we have sell movement before the buy push, IOF. So for the next coming week, after the week that is coming now, we could see price give us a buy model to possibly continue bullish to the upside. But for this coming week, we are going to be looking at the bearish side of things, looking forward to see how price comes into the weekly bullish fair value gap, into the institutional order flow. So let's look at the daily time frame. So what we can see in the daily time frame is this bearish momentum to the downside. So from the daily, we can't see much. Then to establish that fact that we could see price further trade way much lower, I just spotted this. We have this inversion fair value gap here. So it means that we have reasons to anticipate the possibility of price dropping lower in GBPUSD also. So let's look at the 4 hour time frame. In the 4 hour time frame, what we have is this from the monthly block. Price gave us this bearish movements, and now we can see broke through this low points. Price traded back, respecting this bearish fair value gap. Price took out buy side, fell to the downside. This is a buy candle that took out buy side, fell. So what we could anticipate to see is the possibility of price giving us bearish model to continue bearish to the downside here in GBPUSD. So I am bearish in GBPUSD. So we have bearish fair value gap here, and we have the buy candle before the sell movements. So if price gives us buy reaction from this, possibly wants to seek this high, then we can look forward to see the sell model to want to trade bearish to the downside. What can we see in the 1 hour time frame? Let's check that. So what we can see in the 1 hour time frame clearly is where we have the buy movement. So it's still valid to anticipate the possibility that price would give us the sell model from this zone here for us to continue bearish to the downside. So we have liquidity resting here that price may seek. So this is what I have to show us in GBPUSD. Let's move on to the next pair, guys. Here in USDJPY from the monthly time frame, what we can see is this price traded bullish, seeking buy side liquidity back into this bearish block. You know, the first mitigation now, the second, the third, the fourth. So let's just take all of this reaction as a second mitigation. First mitigation, second mitigation. Price gave us this bearish push to the downside. But what we can see is that price traded into this bullish fair value gap, and then volume respected that by closing above it. So what we could anticipate is a possibility of a bullish movement to mitigate this level before we look forward to the possibility of price continuing bearish to where we have the sell movement before the buy push that took out buy side liquidity. So this is the narrative from the monthly time frame. Let's look at the weekly time frame here in USDJPY. So here in the weekly time frame, we're finding that monthly block. We have this QML level that price mitigated, price further mitigated that. You can see here a bearish fair value gap. So price gave us this displacement to the downside. And when price fell, it came into this unmitigated candle wick here in the weekly time frame. Price mitigated this candle wick. So this candle wick here in lower time frame, you're going to see either we have the bullish order block or a rejection block zone. You know, I pointed this for those in the mentorship community and in most of the weekly forecasts we've been releasing in the previous YouTube channel about candle wicks. How within weeks are also candle volumes when you drop to lower time frame. So what we can see is the displacement to the downside. Now price came into this, gave us this push to the upside. So we may see price push further to the upside because now what you can see here, we have a bearish fair value gap. So we have buy movement before the sell movement. So I'll be looking forward to see how price will trade higher, and then look forward to see if price would give us a sell model to now want to continue bearish to the downside. But for the coming week, I'm looking forward to see how price may push higher before we start considering bearishness to the downside. So let's look at anyway the daily time frame to look at the narrative in the daily time frame. So here in the daily time frame, what we can see, this is a weekly block we mark. Now you can see it, we have what's the sell movement before the buy movement. Price deep much more lower into the rejection level. So you can see the rejection level of it, the rejection block level of it. Price mitigated that. And that was where I began looking for buy movements in USDJPY. I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember. But anyway, I got stopped out of it because price just came back and took me out. The entry was in 30 minutes. So we can see price mitigated the daily, refined the weekly. It is this daily rejection, mitigated it. And now we can see price giving us bullishness. So you can see this bullish traded, still return to retest the weekly level. And from there, a strong bullish impulse to the upside. So I'll be looking forward to the bullish side of things than bearishness. So we have price trading above the volume of this bearish candle. Though we have this other bearish candle inside the voluminous bearish candle, so price may not dip into this. So where I'll be looking at is the possibility that this may give us a push, and then from here we have the bullishness to the downside. So this may dip lower, and then we have the push to the upside. So you can see here we have an inversion fair value gap. It means further target will be into the inversion fair value gap. So this is what I'm looking forward to see, except price may be pushed to this before pushing to the upside. But then I want to see this here and then look forward to see how price may continue bullish to the upside. But then let's look at the 4-hour time frame here. So what we can see in the 4-hour time frame is this. So let's do it with this. You know, this was levels we marked from the daily. Let's stick to what we can see in the 4-hour. Let's leave this. So what we can see here in the 4-hour time frame is this. This is the last resort, meaning the last point I'll be expecting to see price deep into for a bullish model. So it means whatsoever violates this order flow means we're just going to be bearish to the downside. So we can see volume traded above this rejection level. So, you know, this is, I just marked this rejection block level and volume is trading above it. So if price dips lower, the level marked from the daily. So we could look forward to see price give us the possibility of the buy model to continue bullish from here. But then if price decides to dip way much lower, it is this. That is the last point to expect a bullish model. Because here we have the order flow, the sell movement before the buy movement to the upside. So whatever violates this will mean we'll start looking at bearish possibility to the downside. So this is what I have to show us guys here in USDJPY. This is gold. This is a weekly time frame. So gold on Thursday, I think from Thursday side given the bearish delivery, and gold traded to an all-time high, I think, of 5,600 before the bearish fall to the downside. So we have our bullish zone here. So gold is still bullish. So we're looking to the bullish side of things. But if we're looking to the bearish side of things, then we may look forward to see how price reacts from this rejection level. and then the possibility of trading to the bullish level. That is if you want to be on the sell side of things, but gold is on the bullish side. So it's, I think, ideal to want to stick to the bullish side of things, which means waiting to see the model price will form here for the bullish push to the upside. So let's look at the lower time frame. Let's get to the daily time frame. So what we can see in the daily time frame is this. This is our bullish level, and from the daily time frame on Friday gave us this massive displacement to the downside. What we can see is that price respected this rejection level here, because now price gave an indecision candle. Let's consider this an indecision candle. Came back, mitigated that, price fell to the downside. So this is our weekly level that we mark from the weekly time frame. So what you can see is that we have this bearish volume to the downside. So if you want to be on the bearish side of things and you want to trade gold to the bullish level, then you can look forward to see how price reacts here and then trade it to the bullish zone. Except you want to consider the inversion fair value gap, believing that price may trade here, respect these two, then give you the bearish continuation. But for me, I'll be looking to the bullish side of things, except really I see a reason to want to be bearish when I see models established that favors the possibility to aim to be bearish to the bullish level. So this is what we have, but then this is our bullish zone for expecting the bullish movement of price. But if you're bearish, this is what you'll be looking for, to see how price reacts at the rejection level of the weekly. And you know, price could possibly trade into this inversion fair value gap we have here in the daily time frame. Here we have a bullish fair value gap, of volume has traded below it, so price could react here for the push to the bullish block. So this is what I have to show us here in gold. Let's check the 4-hour time frame. So in the 4-hour time frame, what we can see is price traded bearish to the downside. Here we have this rally, base zone rally. So price has broken through this base zone, and this is the weekly rejection level. So if you're bearish, you possibly want to look at this to be bearish to this. But then if I don't really have a clear reason to be bearish, I would wait to see the bullish model that will be formed here. If that is established, then trade bullish to the upside. So this is what I have to show us in gold from the 4-hour. Let's check the 1-hour time frame. So what do we have here in the 1-hour time frame? What we can just see in the 1 hour is this, just above the rejection level of the weekly. Let's just consider this movement. So we have a base zone here. So for the bearish side of things, you could look forward to this. See if price gives you the bearish reason to be bearish to this level, then you can be bearish to the downside, looking forward to see if price then creates the buy model. So this is what you can look forward to see, except then price possibly just violates this, then you can catch the bullish side of things. So this is what I have to show us here in gold, and this is what I have to show us for the coming week. To the next video come your way. Cheers and God bless you all.